Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade in
Shade
the
in the
City.
City.
I'm your girl, Treese,
It's Nels.
drinking on the job. Anyway, and thank you guys for tuning in to another review. We are doing Real Housewives of Atlanta, the reunion, part one. So please make sure all our return subscribers, Shade Squad, and our new viewers, please make sure that you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
Don't unsubscribe, y'all. Just don't do that. And yes, let's get into it. Make sure I done said it many times. Y'all know it's the birthday girl. It's her month, Virgo season. So make sure we appreciate all monetary donations and birthday blessings. But yeah, let's not waste no time because it's gonna be just a shady set.
Yes, a hot mess.
Right. But I can't wait to get into it. I want to see what Miss She by Sheree has to say about her fashions.
This is what we got right now.
We start this reunion off. We look like we are in a beautiful tropical paradise. We have tropical birds on set.
It was supposed to be like Jamaica.
There's a moat. I said, are we gonna do this every reunion now? We did it. I guess we did it for Dubai. So now they gotta step their game.
I mean, look, don't treat them special.
Look, and it also might be because these ladies had to pay for their own pictures, so the least y'all could do was hook them up with a nice set. I'm just saying.
Was it that they had to, or they had the pictures paid for, but they didn't like them, so
they were awful pictures. Bravo did them dirty, and they all had to put their money together and go get their own pictures.
I mean, they got the money,
but of course we ain't gonna get into race. I ain't gonna do it with Bravo today. Anyway, they would never with Beverly Hills, never with New Jersey, but we won't go there. So
they probably go on strike and be like, try and have a show without us.
Okay. So anyway, we see the ladies getting ready for the reunion. Sonya says that last night felt like the night before the Olympics. So obviously, I don't know if she went and trained last night, went to the gym to get ready for the reunion, but she was
look. I guess that's like getting ready, like right night before a boxing fight. Like
I guess
you gotta get ready.
So Drew is actually getting her makeup done while she's on the phone with Dr. Ken, getting her therapy. I'm not gonna lie to you, that would be me. I believe in trying to multitask, even though I'm not always great at it. So I would be getting half-ass therapy and getting, my makeup, since I'm not in control of it, would be good. But the therapy,
well, if you would sit
still, I would be like Drew. Probably. I would still be a work in progress. Now, Marlo said that she is nervous, but she's more concerned about where she's sitting. And Kenya is encouraging Sheree to show off them teddies, right? So now Andy walks in and congratulates triumphant Sheree on her fashion show that actually has some fashion, y'all. And we saw that. He goes to see Marlo, and she says that she knows she has things that she needs to apologize for. And, she needs an opportunity to tell her side of the story. And Andy tells her, that's the Marlo he loves. I think
that's the Marlo everybody loves. We like it when Marlo is vulnerable, but we know she has a really disgusting side, and it makes it hard to love her.
Okay, I agree with you. The only thing that it came off fake to me. And that's what I'm starting to throughout this season. Yes, I do love vulnerable Marlo. That we can agree on that. But after watching this whole season and seeing how she switches on and off, and I forgot she's an Aquarius. So, but anyway, them air signs. Anyway,
well, so is Kenya.
Them air signs twirling everywhere. But anyway, the point is that to me, she doesn't seem consistent. And I just never know when you're faking and you're really being vulnerable, or when you're kind of like using it to your advantage. And one of these moments, it just felt like I'm sucking up to Andy moment. That's how I took it. Like I said, I enjoy her for being vulnerable, but I took it
One
as
one thing I think the only reason why I didn't get that vibe from her is because she actually um said for the first time I've heard her is that, you know, she hit below the belt and she has a lot of apologizing to do. I've never heard her admit to hitting below the belt.
okay. Somebody's on Marlo's side of the ring. Anyway,
Listen,
so
you got to
he
stay on the
goes to
fence with
see
Marlo.
Candy and asks if there's anybody she's not excited to see. And of course, she's not really here for Marlo. And you know, Andy tells her, "Bitch, you worldwide. Don't worry about that. You good." So,
Period.
right. So now all of the girls are coming out on set, and Sheree gets the seat next to Andy. Now, apparently, maybe y'all can tell me. I guess as I'm starting to review the shows a little bit more, but I guess I still haven't learned the importance of the seating arrangement yet. So
Yeah, apparently she's never sat next to Andy. I don't know why I would even remember that. Like, I
so
didn't.
Shade Squad, not because then I'm thinking about it back to the Dubai reunion, and Stansberry was sitting next to Andy, and Ion was on the other side. So does that mean that like you were the star for this season? I don't know. That's Shade Squad. Drop in the comments because we still don't know yet. We not that experienced in reunion reviews. So what does the seating, the positioning mean? Let us know. All the ladies look beautiful. We know the
I listen. They all had on their pink gowns. To me, Drew's dress was the best, and
Drew's dress was the best.
I was in shock that she was the best dressed.
I wasn't.
Do you remember? Well, actually, no. Her husband picked out that dress. But I mean, hello, Kenya has been serving all season long.
No. But
Marlo
see, in my
is the
mind,
fashionista.
out if you see, I guess because we follow Drew outside, like on and so to me on the show, I actually think on the show she doesn't do herself justice because if you follow her like on her regular, like everyday stuff, girl be dressing like that's why that doesn't. So that's why I say I'm not surprised. If anything, I would hope that she would bring that because I do feel like she's been dumbing herself down throughout the season because the girl can dress.
I see. I guess I wouldn't have been surprised that she looked good or her dress was beautiful, but to be the best dress is what shocked me.
So who?
I would have
Okay.
thought. I actually would have thought that Kenya was going to be the best dressed because she's been serving all season long. I know Marlo is a fashionista, but sometimes her stuff is kind of like a bit much, like super dramatic. And you know, I can get with some of it and some of it I can't. But I thought Kenya was going to be the best dress. I was looking forward to her dress.
So who do you? I don't think, and this is what I'm gonna honestly
Who the
say.
worst dress was?
I'm gonna say I can't. Now there is one that I like the least. Let's say this, but I'm gonna give hats off where they're due. I can't say any of these ladies on this stage looked bad. Now they all did a good job putting themselves together. My least favorite is Sonya, and it's
Yes,
because the
that was
hair
mine
and
too.
makeup. It ain't really got nothing to do with the dress.
For me, it was the dress. I
To
didn't
me, it
like
was
the
the
dress.
hair and makeup.
I didn't like the dress at all. I didn't like the thing that was over here. I didn't like it at all. It was giving very much 16-year-old homecoming or something. I didn't like it at all.
We get into set as we told y'all. It is Jamaican inspired. And you know,
Real
Andy
birds
says,
and stuff on stage.
right, and Andy says this is in hopes of bringing good vibes only. And Andy, we know that's not gonna happen. Come on now.
I mean, one can only hope. He's like he's like Nina with the stage.
Right. Now, what I will say that I thought was very interesting, ain't nobody gonna go stomping walking off stage today because they done had a whole bridge to get onto the stage and they have removed the bridge. So unless you're going in the water, you are not walking off stage.
They removed the bridge?
You didn't see that? That's Sonya made a point. She said they took the bridge away. They removed it before they started filming.
What you're not about to do is make me feel like I'm stuck. Okay, bring that bridge right back.
But we know and we have seen in these reunions, people will get so upset and their feathers will get ruffled and they'll walk off,
and
or they'll have to walk off to keep from beating somebody's ass.
And that's my right.
We can't do that now.
And that's my right.
You stuck. So now,
like Chuck.
Andy opens up the show. He says, you know, they're starting off well because none of the ladies' dresses got lost in Alaska. I said, oh, out the gate, Sheree shade. So then he asked Kenya, how was her moment doing? And she tells Andy, you know, I'm in my Renaissance period and I may just bust out a new song for you guys. And I was like, okay, Kenya, you're definitely being a moment right now. He moves over to Mumty Marlo.
Munty.
He asks her, how does it feel to be attending her first reunion as a housewife? Now, she says she's excited to be there and to be sitting next to Andy. So he welcomes back OG Sheree and says, out of all their reunions, as we know, this is the first time that she's going to be sitting next to him. He also mentions her being booed up and says, but we're going to get into that later. And I said, oh, yes, we will. Because, you know, I've been telling y'all, I've been giving y'all the tea, even though it ain't like it ain't already in the street, but you know, we gonna see. Anyway, so he asked Worldwide how she's doing and if she's ready to speak on it. And she says, yes, I am. I'm gonna speak on it. Now, he asked Drew, does she have any more bones to be thrown out here? And she said no. And Kenya says, well, Petco was closed that early in the morning, so she didn't get a chance to get there. He welcomed Sonya to Jamaica and asked, you know, for her first reunion, does she feel they did it justice? And she says, you know, she gives them their props and it's like, you did an amazing job. So Andy starts off by bringing up bone collecting. And which one of the ladies did more of it this season? Now, as Bravo do what they do best, roll back the receipts, they start to take a tally. And we see that all the ladies are equal in the shade. Okay. So Andy questions, who's the new bone collector? And Candy says Drew, because she's the one throwing out bones. So Andy asks Sonya if, you know, she's ready to fill these bone collecting shoes. And
she don't want no parts of that.
She said, I'm good.
She said, I got my own shoes. I don't no bone collecting shoes over here.
And Sheree was like, but you're doing such a good job of it. Sonya tells Sheree, thank you for the compliment. Obviously, that means a lot coming from you, calling me the bone collector in training, but I'm good. Now, one of the viewers asked Drew, is she trying to be the new bone collector out here throwing bones? And she says no. She thinks Sheree just left some bones, so she just gave them back to her. Sheree is sitting there confused. And I even say in my notes, because I think Drew thought she ate with this comment. And it didn't land. And even the birds were sitting there, it was crickets. It wasn't giving what it needed to give, Drew. And you know, I'm team Drew. I like her. I'm one of the few people that actually like her. And yeah, I'm sorry, boo. That didn't land. You right now you're giving Sonya reads. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. So
she just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Did you see that? She just shaded them both.
Oh, sorry. So then So Drew says, you know, yeah, you had your chihuahua doing your dirty work. And Sheree tells her, look, I don't have a chihuahua. And Drew tells her, yeah, I gave her the bones. And Sheree says, you know, I think that you couldn't handle Fatum. Drew was like, I couldn't handle her. I handled her. I sent her on her way to play.
But you can't even handle running on a track without hurting yourself.
Now, Sheree said, you absolutely did not, sweetheart. And basically, she said, you ran. You ran, sweetie. You ran. So then we get off of that because clearly that won't go nowhere because Drew ain't got no good comebacks with that. But that's okay. She got something up her sleeve. It might not be a dog bone. She got something. So then the viewers asked Sheree about the bones Fatum was collecting on Drew and Ralph and says, did she have any idea about this before they hung out? And basically says that they feel like she did that so that Fatum could do her dirty work and she could keep her hands clean. Now, Sheree says she would never do that. Absolutely not. She said when Anthony gave her information before she knew that he was working for Drew, Fatum had already known, I guess, some stuff about her. And so when her and Sheree got into it, it was just Fatum, I guess, speaking up for her, kind of being a little chihuahua for Sheree. But that's what happened.
I know Drew didn't believe it, and Sheree was actually ready to pull out her phone and call Anthony
Right.
to verify. So,
and Andy's like, look, I don't know. I don't want to talk to Anthony. I'm good.
Andy's like, I'm the only one that can have receipts.
So then Andy brings up Marlo saying Kenya used to drive Lisa Ray's car. Now, Marlo says she was just repeating what she heard.
Because she didn't know it was a lie.
Right. And Kenya says she actually just did an interview with Lisa Ray and said, Lisa said that wasn't true, but said that Kenya's so cool she could drive her car anytime. And I said, well, Marlo, don't you look like a fool?
Right?
Well, I'm just saying, you just out here saying shit just to say it because you heard it and you have nothing on it. Don't make sense. So then one of the viewers bring up how Kenya went between Sonya and Drew to tell Sonya about, what Drew was saying and Drew what Sonya was saying. Or that Drew said she didn't have a mind of her own. And then the viewer believes Kenya was stirring the pot and asked Sonya and Drew how they felt after watching it. Now, Kenya denies stirring the pot or trying to cause any arguments. She said they needed to know what was being said. I don't know about that, Kenya. It seems a little bit messy, but everybody got to collect a check. I'm not mad. So Drew says she has no problem saying it and stands behind what she said. And this is why I like Drew. If I'm going to say it behind your back, I'm going to say it to your face. So even if it don't make sense when I said it, but okay. So Sonya questions her. It was like, I don't have a mind of my own. And Drew's like, you're a great runner, and we can all agree to that. But outside of that, she doesn't know what else is there. Now,
the fact that she said that.
No. For once, I told y'all, I talked about this in review. Clearly, Sonya been listening. Good girl. Sonya done went to Real Housewives Reunion 101. Okay? So she comes back and she tells Drew, I'm way more accomplished than you just being a good runner, okay? And I've been on the earth the same amount of time that you have, and Drew has reached mediocrity at best. Even Kenya was like, I said, Drew, you better sit your ass down somewhere.
She went in somebody's old bag.
You've been taking some reading lessons. You better sit your ass down.
Yes, she did. Yeah, I thought, I was like,
I said, we've been talking about it all season, how her reads was off. She came ready. Go ahead, Sonya. I'm proud of you. Good girl.
After the break, they move on to Sheree. They do a recap of Sheree's time on the show. And he tells her congratulations of her fashion show with fashions. He asks where they are now, and Sheree says everything is finished. He's like, okay, so if I go to the website and, I click.
No. He said, so if I go to the website, I can't purchase anything. She said, oh, well, the website isn't going to launch into the.
Oh, I thought he was asking her, like, so if I go to the website, like, I can buy stuff. And she was like, well.
No, that's what he was basically telling her, because he was about to put her on blast and like, so if I go to, and we all know we've been to the website.
And you know what, Andy, you're right. Because I bet you Andy did his homework before the reunion. Like, okay, we're going to bring it up. So let me go on this website and see if I can buy anything. And
not even that. We all went the day of the finale.
That's what he said. He was like, so she was like, yeah, it's going to launch the finale. He was like, okay, so I'm going to be able to click the day of the finale and buy some shit and, give me some joggers. And she's like, yes. He's
like with the little dick imprint thing. And Kenya calls it a penis pocket. I said, go ahead,
Kenya. That's really what she made it sound like. A penis pocket, like it's, I don't want to see it like balled up like that. I want to see it like
Okay. Okay. We are getting off track, Shade Squad. Sorry. So,
I know he asked the ladies what they thought of the fashion show,
and
and
they
they
said
said
they
that it
all
was
loved it.
epic. It was wonderful. So a fan says they love how all the ladies rallied around Sheree, especially, like the shopping experience that Marlo gave, and wanted to know if Marlo really gave her the whole bill to pay and didn't buy her shit. Yes, yes, she did. She's like, I ain't no pimp. What the look? She like, look, I know Marlo like, should I get pimped on? Okay,
Okay.
can you
One
know
thing,
what?
one
What?
thing that I thought was super important, and because we don't want to be called out for not covering everything. So one thing that I think is important is they bring up the historic spring, summer, September moment that Sheree has had in the past. It was that embarrassing for her. She said her priority has always been her family and been taking care of her kids. So she would often put, she by Sheree on the back burner. And Kenya, as Nels was saying, everyone is rallying around Sheree, but Kenya says, they were kind of on her because it was similar to her house situation. They just want to see her finish and want to see her win. But it was shade, Kenya. I caught it. I caught it. You tried to put the fashion line in the house in the same thing, and it took you a while to finish it, but we did it.
I feel like Andy did at one point too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, definitely.
I think he did too.
It was respectful shade though. It was respectful shade.
It was like, not a burn.
Right.
A little sizzle.
Little sizzle. So one of the viewers bring up Candy Speak on It, which is her YouTube, if you guys don't know. And say that, they thought she supported Sheree, but based off of what she said, it sounded shady. Now, Candy says she's always been in support of Sheree, but, Sheree has thrown some shade. And Sheree says, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Please give me instances. And so she's like, oh, and I actually love this moment because we always talk about who Kenya with her situation with Marlo and not being able to, when it comes time to really address her, or they get in these confrontational moments,
she
really
can't
say
bring an example or
this,
yeah.
this,
Mhm.
and this is why I'm not with
and
you.
there's really so many. We saw Sonya do it too, but
Right.
there's really so many examples, and it's like, how can you not articulate what this woman did to you and really make her see the light? Like,
right.
But yeah, Candy did.
Yeah. So Candy basically was like, okay, well, prime example. How about that time where you and Sheree were outside talking cash shit about me and Kenya? Mm-hmm. But Candy's just addressing her part because if you remember, Marlo said that Candy was a whole hoe and slept with all of Atlanta.
And Andy even said, and in some of the interviews, look, Andy had that.
And they rolled back the confessional tape
mm-hmm.
where she definitely shaded the shit out of Candy.
Yeah.
So, Kenya reassured Sheree that Candy has always been in her corner. Sheree was like, well, that's hard to believe because, I got people reaching out to me, sending me video clips and stuff she's saying on her show. And she's like, but I understand though, because I'm good clickbait. Sheree, you actually are. One of our best TikToks is about you. So thank you, girl. But it still can't beat your boy. Well, it still can't beat coleslaw. Still got competition. So as Sheree. And it's like, girl, I don't need you for clickbait. I really don't. I'm worldwide, bitch. I'm worldwide.
But we know everything helps. A fan wanted to know why Sheree was constantly shading Drew for Drop It with Drew when it took her 14 years and you still can't buy anything.
I love the fans. I love the fans.
Yeah, they is shooting. Sheree says she is fashion. So she's doing a fashion line. And Drew doesn't represent fitness or workout. So that was really the issue that she had. Look, Drew looked like she was hurt. She's like, oh, damn, what I gotta do to you?
Right.
Drew says she represents health and wellness because, she was open about her health issues. And
She had a whole
And
hysterectomy. She
a
said she ain't
whole
got no uterus.
hysterectomy. Exactly. And Sheree said, okay, but you also had a mommy makeover.
And Drew is like,
And
well, we've all had things done. She's like, you've had your boobs done,
and
your
your
butt
booty.
done.
And
And
Sheree, look, Sheree was like, whoa, 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 whoa. She said these are squats, not shots.
this is all natural. You got me done. So Sheree and Drew are still going at it. And as we know, Drew says she's coming from a place of, she had 3 kids. She wanted her confidence back, and that was something that she did for her. And she was open about it and wishes that the girls would have supported her more. And then again, we have a room full of crickets. So then one of the viewers bring up how long Sheree took to build her home and her clothing line and asks if it's true she
Because
doesn't
she really don't pay her bills.
and is that why her projects are always delayed? Now, Sheree says greatness takes time and she doesn't have to rush to prove anything to anyone. Her focus is her kids. Andy's like, but your kids are fully grown, Sheree.
Right? She was like, well, not back then they wasn't. Not
Before
the whole 14 years.
I thought it. When she said it, I was like, Sheree.
But she said not the whole 14 years they wasn't. She was like, not back then.
And so then Drew, when Drew get a chance, she could get a moment.
Yes, she did.
She could hop in. You can't tell me that girl didn't jump rope. She was like, when? When can I go? When can I go?
Like, so you don't pay people because of your kids?
Sheree said she pays everybody that needs to be paid. So then Andy's like, hold on. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And then Sheree, Drew was like, well, you didn't pay me. And she's like, oh, I can't wait to get to that. So Andy's like, okay, what is this thing that you mean about you pay people who need to be paid? And she's like, it depends on what it is.
Yeah, he's like, so do you send an invoice? Like, do people send you an
invoice? If you get an invoice, are you paying the bill?
Are they receiving payment? And
so
yeah, then it depends on who it is.
Right. So then she tries to use a conversation. I love this. She tries to bring Marlo down with her. And she's like, well, me and Marlo, that's like a conversation we had last night. And she was talking about how she not happy with her dress. She not paying for this dress. And Marlo said
that was a joke.
That was a joke. She said, Sheree, I can't have people running around talking about me like you.
She said, I pay my bills.
And then here come Counselor Kenya. Where your gavel? Here come Counselor Kenya. And she's like, Sheree, if you're not satisfied, it doesn't absolve you from paying people. And if you don't happy, you don't use them again, but you don't not pay.
Yeah, Sheree was under the impression if you don't like the service, you just don't pay for it.
Right. So somebody brings up how Candy throws people under the bus and brings things up that happen off camera. Candy says that, basically if someone's coming for her, she's coming with what she knows. And then Marlo then interjects and wants to address what Candy said about how she helped her when she was down. And I think that I mentioned this in one of our reviews when we were going off on Marlo, because she was talking cash shit about Candy. And Marlo tries to say that, Todd called her about a show. Candy says, no, Todd called you after you had a conversation with me saying basically that you needed help because I forgot what season it was. Marlo was on the show. She said something that I can't even remember what she said, but it was problematic to the point where Bravo said, we can't mess with you for a little while. Because viewers is upset, but we can't put you on TV. Even if you a friend, you can't even be a friend like you was a friend. So you got to take a step back. So her bag was fucked up. But Marlo was trying to say, well, why would I call you, Candy? You don't produce shit. If I could see if I came to you for music, but I came to Todd because he produces. And I love when Andy came to motherfucking Candy's defense and said, actually, Candy pitches shows
all the time.
Like all the time. And we know that for a fact because she has a spinoff. It's called Candy in the Gang. I'm just saying. Where's your spinoff at, Marlo? You just made a season as a housewife.
And on top of that, regardless, if we had a conversation about something, right? Some type of business, something, and my husband is coming to you about it. Clearly, it's because from our conversation, I pitched it to him, and now he's coming to you about it. So don't be like, oh, well, you didn't help me. Todd helped me.
Right. This obviously upsets Candy. And she says she's annoyed, she's frustrated. All I could think was the lies. Okay. Candy is upset. She's like, how dare you, now that you get on this platform, come up here and go and tell people that I don't help people when I've always tried to help you. And if I'm not mistaken, when Marlo actually joined the cast, Candy was one of her biggest like supporters and was happy that she had finally got a peach. So this is why I say I can't gauge who Marlo is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have somebody that really rocks with you like behind the scenes and is gonna really fuck with you. And yet, as soon as you get in front of the camera, you shit on them.
And it's like, from what I can see, Candy is a super genuine person.
Right. So she's not for that bullshit.
Marlo is the only one who has these type of issues with Candy. Nobody else says anything like this about Candy. Nobody has these type of issues with Candy.
Even Portia had to come back and say sorry.
Sheree intervenes.
Interrupts.
She's like, this, this is my time now, right? Like, right. I'm supposed to be talking. So Andy jumped right into it. He's like, you know what? You're right. Let's get on Tyrone.
And Candy apologizes.
Yeah. So a fan wants to know why her and Tyrone are practicing abstinence after he was in 8 years, after he was in prison for 8 years. And she's like, y'all really want me to get into it? Y'all really want me to?
And apparently we all know she went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy and basically said that he was bad in bed. And that, that she said they did, do it, but it was so bad that she just couldn't take it anymore. So she decided she'd just rather be abstinent. She just wasn't satisfied. Ask her whether she felt she was being used. She says yes, because he was trying to make deals outside of her, but they needed her to sign the paperwork because she is the housewife. And she believes he got mad when she wouldn't sign. And that's what this whole thing was about. Then they asked her about her coochie cleanse. And did it help?
No, I want to do that.
I really just feel like it was a yoni steam.
No, it was it looked like an incense or something.
Okay. And, they asked her, did it help her get over Tyrone? Sheree says she was already over Tyrone at that point. So I was like, oh, okay, we're moved on. And, Andy lets that be a segue into the Martell Holt portion of the show.
I thought it was hilarious. They never said his name.
Okay, can I tell you that irritated me?
That they never said his name? They said everything he did.
It was like, if you were playing Pictionary, right? Or if you're playing, what's the other one where you use the words?
Like charades?
Or taboo, or just what the fuck ever.
Mm-hmm.
She gave every other detail.
She did.
To tell you it was him.
But wouldn't say the name.
Nobody
said the name.
So, anyway, we get into our Martell Holt portion of the show, which why he's getting a segment and he is not on the show is beyond me. But okay, Sheree, give him his time, I guess. Already giving too much, girl.
So he can get a check.
Look, this is your segment, boo, and already he's taken away from you. So, Andy moves on to Martell and asks, what can you tell us? And she said he's a nice guy. They've been talking for a few months. And Andy asks, well, what does your new boyfriend do? And she hesitates. Now, she said, I didn't say I had a boyfriend. So y'all not even out here claiming each other? Okay. So he clears it up and said, well, you've been dating someone for a few months. And she's like, well, yeah, he has a wine line. He does real estate.
And he's on another show.
He does real estate with no builder's license. I'm sorry. I'm adding on.
You're such a shady ass.
But she says she's just having fun. let's keep it that way, Sheree. Let's keep it that way. Now, Andy asks, so you're comfortable? And Kenya says, oh, she's getting more than just comfort. Okay. I was like, well, let's just keep it at that. But I love one of the viewers asked the magic question that we all want to know. Mm-hmm. Sheree, why would you get with him, Martell, after knowing what he did to Mel, and ask, are you ignoring red flags? So Sheree says we all ignore red flags. Like, so what did he do? I don't really know what he did. What happened? And Sheree's like, well, I don't really know. And Kenya's like, oh, so what happened was he cheated on his wife. He cheated multiple times. And then
had a baby on her.
The last one that he cheated on. That's what happened. Mm. I said, come on, Kenya. Come on. Now,
she went from bad to worse.
She said in watching the show, he's someone she would never talk to. She would never try to date. But she said, you know, he's an attractive guy. And upon meeting him, she found him to be like, you know, a great person.
What I thought was funny was she said, yeah, he's an attractive guy, but you know, that's not something she really pays attention to. Kenya said, yeah, we know. We met Bob. Kenya! Kenya!
Shout out to Kenya for saying what I was thinking last episode. They then get over to, well, Sonya compliments Sheree on doing what she wants and not caring what others think.
She thinks it's admirable.
I hear that about you, even though it makes you look really stupid sometimes. So they get into
she can say that she has a good man in her life.
Who?
Sonya.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, I thought you said she. Okay. I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So they get into the breakdown of Drew and Sonya's friendship. Andy said he was actually really sad to see them fall out like they did.
This is a whole lot of.
He asked where they stand today. And Sonya asks, you know, says Drew is the only person she really doesn't talk to. She said she has a great relationship with everyone else but Drew. Now, he asked Drew what surprised her about how their friendship went down. And she said she doesn't know. She said they were building a friendship. And she had her over to her home. She introduced her to people. Sonya's like, who did you introduce me to? Who, Drew? Who? And Drew was like, I introduced you to Shamia. Like, and she's like, well, I just want to be clear so you're not making it more than what it is. And Drew was like, where is this? That's what people hate about Drew, because she's so calm. She's like, I don't understand where this energy is coming from. We were just cool 5 minutes ago. And now I'm getting all this pressure. So,
look, and you're sitting right next to me, breathing hot air on my neck. You need to pipe down.
Well, now Sonya says the way Drew has milked this situation and played victim, she's just over it. She's like, you know, they had a convo, and she goes back to, I guess, when she had the conversation with Kenya, and she said she really wasn't feeling how Drew was moving. But she says that Drew actually came to her in confidence when they were cool and was talking about how she felt all the other girls felt she was so argumentative and combative, and they couldn't really, you know, vibe with her. And she was like, and she didn't understand why. So she was like, when I started to see these things in Drew, it just made me want to be like, this is why, and point them out to her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, and I had a conversation with her. Ralph was in the room. Her hairdresser was there. And Drew's like, that did not happen. And she's like, the producer cam was there. So, and I feel like we did see, I mean, obviously we may not have seen all the footage.
Well, that's what Drew was saying. She was saying, okay, well, that was caught on camera, but you didn't have a conversation. And she was like, no, our conversation wasn't caught on camera. So I guess Sonya's trying to say maybe it was before or after that. I don't know.
But Sonya says, God, Ralph, and Drew knows.
Well, she said, no, Sonya says that her, Ralph, and God knows. Drew is apparently the only one that doesn't. So Sonya said, you know, she went down to her room because she didn't want to be blindsided. She wanted to have a conversation with her, and felt like she got blindsided having the conversation when they got to speaking on the couch. Sonya basically would not let her speak. She was speaking over her. And, you know, she couldn't get out where her says, Andy just took over. He was just like, look, I don't know what the fuck is going on. A fan asked
clearly y'all don't either.
Right. A fan asked Drew why she spent so much time talking over people and says that's why she can't resolve issues in her marriage with Ralph or her friends. So, ooh. Drew
But you
says that's
again,
something
I love Drew. She took it in stride. She said, I know, I'm working on it. I'm
with
working on it,
Dr.
actively
Ken.
working on it with Dr. Ken. And Andy says, well, where are you now? I'm
She said
still a
she at
work
work.
in progress.
Exactly. Period. So they asked Sonya how she felt when they saw that Marlo agreed that she was clout chasing. And Sonya says that at the time, her and Marlo didn't really know each other. And once she got to know her, she knows like that's not the case. Like Marlo, no, she ain't no clout chaser. And he says, well, you did invite two people that have the most followers on the show. And, they have the biggest platforms. And she says that she also invited Drew originally. And I'm clout chasing for what? Her little 500,000 followers. I said, oh, Lord. And she says that she didn't even invite she didn't even ask the two ladies to put her stuff on social media. So she was really just trying to get to know them. It had nothing to do with clout chasing or inviting them because they had the most followers. She tells Drew that at some point she's got to stop acting and be real. Sonya says that she's been talking about it and like she's done talking about it. Andy wants to be done with it as well. And Drew, I guess she feels like she wanted to speak her piece because she really didn't get to talk. Sonya was talking over her the whole time. Andy ready to be done with it, but they move on. So Andy says that Sonya is crying. And Drew's like, well, yeah, she got some tears coming out. Andy and Kenny are like, boo, that's crying. And he says, she's not a trained actress. And Drew was like, well, I mean, maybe. She did pretty well with me.
I'm here for that smoke. Cause you see my face when you said it and you was like, she was crying. I was like.
So Andy says, maybe this can just be a bump in the road and ask if this is a friendship breaker. Sonya said that Drew was a flip-flopper, so it's a done deal for her. And Andy asked Sheree how she feels about that.
More accurate.
Yeah, so Andy asked Sheree how she feels about that, and Sheree says she doesn't know about her being a flip-flopper, but she is a known liar.
Woo.
And Drew was like, oh, this is news to me. And apparently everybody on the panel can vouch for that, according to Sheree. She was like, I mean, do we know her to be a liar?
Well, Drew, I be trying to take up for you, girl, but I don't do the lies.
The lies. Then they move on to Marlo. And Andy asked Marlo, how was the rest of her mom's visit with the boys? And did they get a chance to connect? And she says, yeah, they did, but she wished it would have been longer. Apparently, Marlo, she gets emotional and says she just needs her mom. Every girl needs their mom or their dad, and her mom doesn't get it. Apparently her mom went back to her old ways. But she says she hates to talk about her because her childhood was rough and explains her grandmother didn't know how to be a mother as well. So, she understands that her mom went through a lot. She says when she has a bad day, or even when the girls, kind of mistreat her, she wishes she could just call up her mom and speak to her. And she loves the relationship that Mama Joyce and Candy has, and she kind of wants that. But yeah, that ain't the mama you got, boo. Sorry.
And you know what's so funny? She actually did an interview with OLFP, Bondi and them and Jamie and Niecy, and they were like, it seems like you aren't very sympathetic to Marlo. It seemed like you weren't really into her sob story. And she was like, because I wasn't.
Who did the interview with? Who?
Candy.
Well,
she was like this.
The little violin.
The little violin.
And she feels that every mom should protect their daughter the way Mama Joyce protects Candy. because she
Is that
says
why
that
she be coming for her like that? Is it
what
really that's what it is from a psychological standpoint? Is it envy and jealousy? And that's why you can't stand
possibly.
Candy so much, or not even can't stand, but you're so envious
Hmm.
because you've never had that. And so that's
Possibly.
why, but because remember how she attacked her, you let your mama interfere with your relationships. And this is sounds so fucked up. Your mom's not even coherent enough to interfere in your relationships, and you wish you had that shit. And I don't say it to sound fucked up. I say it to show y'all how fucked up Marlo was for saying it to Candy when she realizes that's really what the fuck she wants.
Mm. Well, Marlo says that it makes her feel by herself a lot of the time. She says she feels like, she's so tough and so strong because she had to put a shield up because, she ran away at the age 10, and always felt like she was by herself. And it always made her feel like she wasn't worthy, not having her mom in her life. So she says that she ran away from home at the age of 10, was put in 5 different foster homes until she aged out at 18. Now, apparently her mom used to beat her, and that's why she ran away. She says that she was giving her younger brother a bath one day, and she told him that she would be back. And she says, he was mad at her ever since because she never came back. She says that she ran away to a Jamaican family, and apparently the dad was abusive as well. So she called a social worker to be put in a temporary center, and that's when she was introduced to Petersburg, Florida, where she went
Oh,
to her
St.
first
Petersburg.
foster. Huh?
St. Petersburg.
What I say? Oh,
Petersburg.
I said St. Petersburg, Florida. Um, where she went to her first foster home. Now, apparently, this mom was strict, and Marlo was going around talking about how strict she was, and the mama didn't like it. So she came home one day and told her she had to pack up her shit because she was going around telling people that she was strict, and the mama didn't want to have, like a bad reputation. She didn't want nobody looking down on her or whatever. So she says then she went to another
Do we not see a
location
lot of repeated behavior?
where she doesn't think there should be consequences for her actions.
Consequences for our actions. Things get too tough, so I'm going to put you out. Like these are all things, but granted, I applaud her for trying to change and wanting and taking herself a little break. But all the things that seems like that have happened to her, she's definitely put William and Michael through some of that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, she says then she went to another location where it was a big, beautiful blue home, and she thought that was home for her. The mom was super nice. There was a daughter, but she came home one day and her mom told her she had to go because the other daughter didn't feel that she was getting enough attention, and didn't feel loved anymore because Marlo was in the home. Andy asked her, "What does it do to you as a child to be in search of a home like that?" And Marlo says she doesn't know, she doesn't have all the answers, and said she just knows that it hurts because constantly trying to be somewhere and not being alone and people judging you for who you are or your past. And even talks about when Kenya calls her an iconic ex-con. And Kenya looks super unfazed, like, yeah, bitch, I said it. Like, you said some dirty shit about me too.
Right.
And she begins calling off everyone's accolades on stage. And apparently, I think this makes her feel unworthy as well because of, what she's known for. She even tells Andy, the position he's in. Everyone has done something major with their life. Everybody that she's on stage with. And
This is from the same person that said Candy wasn't shit and she's not worldwide. That's what I'm saying, Marlo. That's what I'm saying. Can we really believe this is genuine? Because when you're hurt, you have no fucks to give.
but apparently that's the way her mom is as well.
Hold on. I'm about to give it to your ass. What do you always say?
Oh, I'm not saying it's okay.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm not
Okay.
saying it's okay. I'm just saying where she may have picked up the behavior from. I'm not saying that it's not okay to get it fixed or treated. I'm saying that's possibly where she picked up the behavior from.
Shade Squad.
I'm not at all saying it's
New
okay.
viewers, y'all may not know. Return viewers, I'm sure y'all know by now from watching us. One thing that we do not support and do not believe in. Okay, if you have something wrong with you, I don't care if you got it from your mom.
And
I
it's
don't give a
fixable.
fuck where you got it from, your daddy, your who's is a whatsy. Okay, if you got issues with you and you can acknowledge that you have them, go get that shit fixed. Go talk to somebody, but don't take that shit out on other people who don't deserve it just because you got issues. We all do. Carry on. I'm sorry.
So Andy asked if they had a conversation with Marlo, and Sheree says, you know, she did a little bit, but she never went this deep and, you know, told this many details. And Candy said that she did find out a little bit more when she was introduced to her mom. And apparently Marlo used to date Candy's god brother, Anthony. And, you know, she says that Anthony knows all about the verbal and I guess, you know, whatever abuse that her mom put her through over the past few years, because he would hear her on the phone. He knew that she, you know, she would send money. Apparently that was like 14 years ago. So she gets to her never receiving a peach and being on the show. And, you know, she said it was hard for her because she felt like, you know, why not? Why not me? Am I not worthy? And she just felt like, you know, with the ladies.
No, because you say some reckless shit.
And with the ladies.
Bravo can't support that. They can't stand behind that shit that you say a lot of the times.
I think, like I said, I think it has a lot to do with how her mother treated her, because apparently her mother used to say some crazy shit and her mom was forgiven.
Her mom was not on TV either. She wasn't on a public platform.
That's true. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't take everything into account, you know.
Clearly. That's why she's still walking around doing the shit.
Her mom, you know what, I ain't gonna talk about nobody's mom. So then, you know, she even talks about the ladies, and she felt like, you know, she felt like, look at me, like, you know, she wanted to fit in. She wanted to be one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So he asked Kenya, was Marlo the housewife you expected her to be? And she says no. Instead of showing people she actually has a great heart and is a great friend, you know, she went the complete opposite way, and she was
an asshole.
She was disappointed. And he reminds her about the time they were in New York and says, you know, she was a great friend. Kenya says, no, that's a stretch. Great friend is a stretch. Marlo says that it felt good, you know, regardless. And she was watching the episode and saw that, you know, she was like leaning on her. I guess maybe she like fell asleep on her shoulder. And then Kenya says, then you turned around and weaponized that against me. And of course, you know, she brought up her husband and took all these low blows. Marlo says she didn't say anything about her husband this season. And then she was like, you absolutely. She was like, well, while we were friends. Yeah, I don't know if she had to remember.
I was going to say, I really hope Bravo needs to run the receipts.
And Kenya says, please do not. She's like, we're not doing Donald Trump right now. And he asked her, would she say that she's had an emotional and sexually fulfilling relationship with a man? And she says, no. After running away at 10 and being in the foster care system, like, you couldn't even imagine the things she had to endure and survive. Like, nobody on that stage could walk a mile in her shoes. Basically stating that she was, you know, sleeping on mattresses on the floor, and then people judge her, calling her whores and prostitutes. But you can't bring one guy that she's fucked or, you know, gave fellatio to. Okay. But, you know, all you can talk about is her fashions. Basically, you know, she's saying you can't, like, all these people are calling her whores and prostitutes, but I don't know. She's got a point there.
I was gonna say we've never seen Marlo with anybody, but I mean, just because we don't see you, that don't mean it don't happen.
But everybody else we've seen, and you know, normally, look, they will search, they will
No, that's true. That's true.
So
That is true.
thank
Well,
you
thank you
guys.
guys for tuning in to another review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And here we are, the season. Well, the season is done, but we have just finished off part one of the reunion. So please make sure before you head out that you hit that like button,
You comment
you subscribe,
and you hit the notification bell.
and please make sure that you are liking us on all platforms, the Facebook, the Twitter, all that other good stuff, IG, TikTok. We have been growing and glowing, and we appreciate it, Shades.
Yes, we have.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And like I always say, even though we appreciate birthday blessings and monetary donations, the biggest gift of all is to see us grow. So please continue, share us with your friends, and just help us keep growing and getting our numbers up, guys, because we definitely notice and we appreciate the love. So thank you. And we'll catch you next week for part two. Have a good night.
Good night.